it happened again. Peter Van Pollo. Another victory royale. Game number 6. I can't believe it. But we talked about that already. What we need to focus on now are the standings, okay? 2 games left to go. And again, if you're just tuning in, welcome. This is the Reload Elite Series. At the end of 8 games, we need to be top 2 if we want to make it to the EWC. And there's quite a situation going on in the standings right now. So obviously, we know Peter Van Pollo, they've already got themselves a qualifying spot, and they're currently in their top 3, 264 points. The situation is at the top. Acorn and Bolts currently lead the pack, but as we look to the standings, you can see 2 crowns, right? Peter Van Pollo, Josh Yams, congrats. Currently, Booga and Braids are in the talks as well. So first, let's start with Acorn and Bolts. Gents, it's fantastic to see them currently breaking into the 300 point threshold. This last game, we did see a top 5 with 4 eliminations. When I look at their placements on the last game and these last, several games, and even eliminations, Viv, I'm impressed, right? This is a level of consistency that I feel like Acorn and Bolts can target and continue to hit over and over again, and that's why they're currently in first place.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's just, obviously they started the day super hot with those eliminations. They've kind of, slowed down a little bit in terms of picking up as many eliminations, but still picking up enough. And it's just all about the average placement right now for this, though. They have an average placement of 5. So, like I mentioned, best IGL in the game, a mechanical beast in Bolt. And if they're going to be able to make it to 8 end games, they're going to qualify.
Yeah, and after being 1 point off in qual 1, they were not coming into qual 4 and not going to make it out, because I would say it's pretty safe to say they have that first spot locked in at this point. With Booga and Braids 90 points behind, I would say it's locked in.
I want to believe, right? I want to believe, but you said their name, Blake, so we got to talk about them. Booga and Braids. Listen, I need Booga to qualify. Okay, I need this. Okay, Booga. We need this, Booga. You need to keep pushing. We've got 2 more games left to go. Viv, to see Booga win and make it to EWC, I feel like would be just such an incredible moment for him, is what I meant to say, for him, not for me, for him. I am not biased.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an incredible bounce back after, of course, missing Summit to kind of make it to one of these other lands. That would be absolutely incredible. But, Blake kind of mentioned it. Hey, there's a 90-point lead in terms of qualification spots for Acorn and Bolt. It is completely different for the side of Booga and Braids, because they have a 1-point lead in terms of competing for those qualification spots. So a completely different side of the coin here.
Yeah, and they're right on the edge, but the thing that's keeping them in it is that 6th place solo clutch by Booga. Braids went down pretty early before the moving zones, and Booga stayed in it, showing why he's been on top for so many years, dating all the way back to the Fortnite World Cup. His longevity is just insane. He shows he still has it, even after missing the Summit land, like Vivid said. Zeke, do you think they're going to hold on?
I need them to. Like, I need them to. But also, when I look, like you guys called out, 1 point behind Higgs and Curve, honestly, and even if enough install, like they're 201 to the 222 of Booga and Braids, like this could still go any which way, right? We still have 2 games left to go, and now is the time to make it happen. Now is the time to swing for the fences, because after this, we're going to the EWC, and that's it. All right, the competition is done for those who don't make it. Fortnite fam, lock in! 2 games left to go. MDF Jacob, please take it away.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is that everyone has exhausted their throwaway games minus Acorn and Bolts. Like,
okay, 2 more games, that means anything can happen. People can
and perform here and now, Jacob.
do
Game is ready.
dumb
So
and
let's
real
just jump
shit.
right into game 7.
Nah.
This is it. Monster, 2 games left. And even with Acorn and Bolts having such a monster of a lead, it's 1 point that separates that 2nd spot. In the last qualifier, by the way, folks, only 2 teams will round out NA Central to make it to the Esports World Cup, and we have 2 games left to see it all play out. In the feed, you're seeing early action, even Agers taking down Josh, Noxy getting another elimination. Higgs this time around, though, surviving off spawn, so we could have a different trajectory with Higgs and Curve in this early game.
Yeah, That's right, and I'll stand by what I said. The EWC built on the reload game mode itself as the main focal point. I really do think makes for a very exciting tournament, and the players feel like that too. Agers and Ritual, though, find a quick elimination onto Yamzo. Chip and 20 immediately hop over. I wonder why they were so interested in securing that positioning there, but seems like they were thinking about hunting that player down for the quick elim, but Agers, of course, manages to come out on top. Now, this is really interesting because for Agers and Ritual, they are one of the duos now in the race here to qualify now after these next 2 games. But again, it's going to come down to playing exceptionally well, and everyone else has to not drop the ball.
Now, this is how we saw some of the fights go down. Muzz taking out Rapid right out of the gate. Muzz, not even his drop spot. Now he's going up against Northern. Little bit of a trick right there. Northern's able to get the elimination, but it just goes to show, like, with everything on the line, I think teams, especially certain players, are realizing the situation that they're in. Agers has been going crazy almost all day long, trying to get them to catch up and stay within reach. Rise and Curly have been doing the same thing. You have Higgs and Curve picking up high elimination games, but overall, Peterbot and Foyo have also been disrupting a lot of the flow of these teams trying to make finals.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, if you're the rest of the lobby, you're kind of happy Muzz is, you know, putting up numbers against Cold and Rapid, you know, like they're qualified teams. Let them fight. Don't give those guys, you know, room to break away like Peterbot and Foyo have done over the last few rounds, because you see how much of a problem they tend to be when they get into the end games and they're comfortable. The team that we've seen kind of slip out of the fight a bit here is actually Scare and Queasy, and I saw Scare go down there in the lead, so with 173, they're not quite out of the tournament just yet, but they are going to have to pull through with 2 monstrous games. You want to see them pop off. Meanwhile, back to Peterbot there at 3 elims here, Jacob.
See how we got that third one so far. Northern, I feel like this is exactly what we saw when they were chasing down enough. Northern has just been kind of put in the blender time and time again, and as soon as he responds, since it's so early in the game, they can easily try to catch up. Neo and Noisy, though, taking down Booga, leaving it all up to Braids to stay alive, and they just keep it flowing. Higgs is the next person in their line of sight. They, too, are close. 172 points, 2 second places on the day. If they could just match the eliminations with top 5s to end the day, we could possibly see Neo and Noisy qualifying to the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, most definitely. They were really close in the early instances of the evening. Higgs and Curve back to them. 2-2-1 on the points here. Not too bad, as they've landed kind of near where Booga just touched down on. You see Breeze down below. Booga spawned in. He's got a shotgun. He's got an AR. Curve's got no idea he's behind this ammo crate here. Eventually, they will check it, though. Obviously, there's no reason for them not to go in and clean up the loot here.
Not touch this.
Secure it.
Leave. Wow.
See, if this was a chest, I think you'd be right on the money there, Monster. But since it's just an ammo crate and you do get loot and ammo from getting those eliminations, I think it's just not necessarily a concern in the back of their mind as of now, especially since they are so close to qualifying already. They check the building, realize, hey, maybe Booga's not here, and they're already setting their eyes on somewhere else. Curve going a little bit towards the south. Higgs, you see them trying to cover as much ground as possible, so that way they can get as much information on anybody straggling too far back from their duo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there was a chest right above Booga, but hey, they're feeling pretty confident, more happy to try to hunt for the elims, and instead they get rewarded with the 2 drops. So there they go. It ends up paying off for Booga hiding out. Meanwhile, Mason and Noxy here just giving us some entertainment. So yeah, Dozier and V Tyler end up finding a nice little elim there. That one's onto visuals. That's a tough one for him. Jumping back over to Ritual, though. Who's your teammate, my man? It's at 200 points right now. Agers the other side of the curve here. The cube.
Yeah, Agers' only goal here is stay alive. They get uncontested chiseled cube. They have a lot of space. We did see it in game 8 in the last qualifiers. That's something they have to keep in the back of their mind, where Clicks and Higgs at the time pushed on over, got the elimination on the Ritual, and Agers simply could not stay alive. So hopefully they've learned from their past. But Peterbot and Poi, again, look who's in the sky. It's Northern again. They're trying to beat that record of 5 elims on enough by himself in that last game. I'm not sure what Northern's going through, but I could definitely feel his pain.
He's just getting scrambled up, put in the frying pan. Like, they're just doing what they do over there. They're at almost 8 eliminations, and We jump into the real time, and I see Peterbot once again in the feed. So at this point, I don't even know what to think of it, but they're going for first place because why not? Meanwhile, Curvin Higgs here, tournament's pretty much life is on the line right now. Dozier ends up getting a full elimination.
one out there,
Higgs
one left.
forced
Oh,
to back
wait.
off. Hopefully he doesn't rotate into anyone too strong of a duo.
Who out there?
Outskirts here, but I don't think he wants to fight just yet. Bugha doesn't seem to have his teammate near him just yet either, as he's getting chased by Mason Noxy.
Everybody now closing the gap. Looks like Mason Noxy might have spotted him out. I saw some
Bugha
shield go
out
down
there.
just like that. Higgs fresh off the reboot, so maybe that'll deter them from getting fully aggressive. But if they spotted Bugha out as a solo, I'm not sure much can do to stop them, especially since it doesn't look like Braids is anywhere nearby. If we look at Bolts and Acorn, not necessarily going for any early game aggression here. They're just sticking to the strategy that gets some of these kind of late game placements every single time. As Northern, again, doesn't even get the chance to hit the launch pad. He gets taken down by Poyo at the last second. 9 eliminations here. I know we were talking about they want to win it. They missed the game, but right now, I'm not sure there's anybody that can slow this team down.
Look at this, wasted no time either. Knew exactly what they were going to do. Land on the chest there. They go ahead and get the bandages as well. The quick pickup, like the momentum is flowing right now. They're at 9 eliminations, mind you guys. They are looking to fight for a curve level performance where they pulled up with 18. They're already halfway through, and we're just in the zone of 5. This could really go either way, you know, based off of Peterbot's performance right now.
If Peterbot up another game and Peterbot can
off of this.
no.
He's looking for Bugha. Yep. Followed him outside of the zone, just trying to go ahead and solidify this elimination. And remember, Curve at one point was the one trying to stay alive, but he was able to hunt down Bugha successfully, get that elimination, and just try to pull further and further away. And I do believe the way this game has played out so far with early game eliminations for Curve and Higgs and not so much for Bugha and Braids. Remember that 1-point differential? I believe Higgs and Curve have now overtaken them on the leaderboard and now sit in fourth place inside of that bubble. Fourth place, excuse me.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt the math. It's adding up that way. They really are playing just a little bit more consistent right now. Most of what we've seen is like Bugha getting hunted
Yeah,
down,
if
Braids
Peterbot up
hiding
a
out.
good
I don't even
game
know where Braids is at this point.
and
but
Peterbot
he's found
can
himself
win
somewhere that
the
seems to be
dominant,
safe. I'm concerned with Storm
Echo
Surge at this
maybe
point,
need to watch
or
out
Storm
because
Sickness,
Peterbot lane on
really, given
Echo
that he's just been in the zone the entire
and
time.
Peterbot not knee pick waiting mid lane.
Very
Echo
good call because it's something that we
needs
have seen play a role, but when it comes to reload, not as
Maybe
much.
some people
as you would
picked it,
think
that
would be.
happened.
Poyo just taking down Northern again. You got to imagine they're finally on double digits here. And Monster, actually, I want to see how it's just not able to touch the ground at all. Even when he does, he doesn't have builds. He doesn't have a loadout to fight back. Northern, I just feel so bad. Peterbot and Poyo, they just select one person each game and make it their sole focus to make sure they can't play.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, man. It's a tough hand to be dealt there. I mean, and it's late enough that you spawn in at least with some kind of arsenal, so it's not completely free, but they have such an advantage over you. Scare and Queasy, though, 3 elims right now. This is that team, like I said, they were in the 173 range, right? If they can get a good chunk of elims the next 2 games, they can very well fight for one of the 2 spots that's available. You know, Queasy wants it more than anyone else. Let's see if Tyler and Dozier can put up a fight, though. They're already at 5 elims, so they're playing really well so far here.
2 shots left though for Tyler. The Gatekeeper not going to be able to use it. Scare's going to pick up that one. And I like this out of Scare and Queasy because you're saying 173. If you look at their placements, every single game but 2, they're inside of the top 10. They had a 13th and 18th that they kind of fell outside of that same consistency. The biggest thing that they're lacking, though, because other teams have a similar placement history, it's elimination. They have 12. And if you kind of look at, you know, the other teams on the leaderboard, we have in the side of the 30s, Braids and Bugha, inside of the 20s. You even have Salt and Enough at like 17 with Aegis Ritual 18. So they're losing out on a couple of points that the teams above them on the leaderboard are collecting by their lack of aggression. So with 2 games left, maybe they've realized that and have started to pick up the pace.
Yeah, they're definitely on the lower side of average elims, like across the board. And to your point, yeah, their placement is very much on par with everyone else, well within, you know, the top 5 pretty much. So it's up to them, really, if they really want it. And it seems like they are at least switching the strategy just a little bit here. So see if they can keep up the pace realistically is what it comes down to for Josh Niamzo, though. No sweat, no trouble in paradise either. They're sitting dead center right now. Big material counts. Elam's this game here. Very much in a race for first as well. It's not just the Peterbot, Boyo, Acorn, and Bolt show. These guys are all very much in the conversation right now.
And it looks like, for the most part, Josh Niamzo have the second most eliminations in the tournament behind Peterbot and Poyo so far with 31. Obviously, this game, we can start to add those on a little bit later, but they're only 1 point shy of Acorn and Bolt, who are currently in first place. So even though Josh Niamzo have nothing to lose, they already got their spot secured, they're playing because they want to win the entire thing. They want to start to build up momentum and be a team that can be feared. So that way, when the EWC finally does roll around, they can hopefully get a spot uncontested.
Yeah, got to get that uncontested. That's going to play a huge factor, of course, because then you get the freedom, right, to like send someone off to go try to farm some points. Whereas when you're full contested, you know, anything can still happen.
Decent rotation being forced out of a good portion of the lobby. Only a few being gifted the front side of the zone. Everybody else to rotate over. Flowberry Fizz, Crash Pad. That's going to be the method for Muzz and Sphinx, but Sphinx taking a lot of that damage on way to the front side of the zone. But luckily, there's no pressure coming out, so they're going to be able to safely heal while every other team plays catch-up, trying to make this rotation possible. And if you look at the zone now, it's all fine and dandy, but if we continue to move on over towards that POI, the eastern side towards Chiseled Cubes, there's going to have very different elevation change. But Booga and Braids pick up a elimination here, second one of the game, with how down bad they have been so far. It's great to see them starting to pick themselves back up.
Let's see how it's going to play out. Bouncing back. They're at 2 elims right now. 228 on the point threshold. Just holding on at this point. You know, looking at them early on, like you said, they were really struggling, but here we are in the end game. No more reboots. They seem to have found their footing, so it's as much their opportunity as anyone else's now to really take away here.
It is 8 zone. They do have the launch pads. Got to imagine Acorn has the Flowberry Fizz, so they're just not worried about this rotation too much. Let other teams start to move forward, and they're going to deploy their launch pad down and try to just fly across these next couple of zones. Higgs and Curve, they don't have that same luxury, though. Shockwaves is going to be the name of the game for them. They let Ritual go out first, try to trap Aegis by himself. They don't successfully land that play, but they also get good information about where they're rotating to so they can try to dodge it.
I think they have really low material too. Like if you look at it, they're out of the heavy material. So Higgs and Curve not looking the hottest right now. They're definitely one of the weaker duos in contention right now. If they can, you know, pull something big through, it's gonna make all the difference for them.
Acorn importantly a best team because I feel like Peterbot
super safe here.
playing on
Extra
him.
launch pad in hand as well. It's exactly the spot you want to be in. That's how you coast your way to some placement points there. Jumping back into the conversation down in the bottom, though. Peterbot, Boyo, 11 elims now. Firing their way up. Here comes the Shockwaves right into Booga's area. They don't quite go for the fight first, so that's going to be a little bit favorable for everyone here, but they are going to find Chimp there in the layer above them. Can't be building in wood, not this high up. You do become a target here.
Top 16, though. One team needs to go down. You start to get placement points. There's 2 solo players running around, and Poyo accidentally gets Shockwave outside of the zone by Peterbot, having to use a Shockwave to get back. A lot of resources being dwindled down there from Peterbot and Poyo, but they're able to bypass this 9th zone. They'll touch ground in the 10th zone, maybe 11th if they play their cards right, but Booga and Braid still able to survive. But Braid just has barely any HP. He's finally getting that shield back, but I think they finally ran out, just like Yamso. He's going to go down. Josh by himself. You see him scrambling around, trying to get distracted by 2 other teams who are still fighting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Brace had just gotten that knock, too, so maybe the Elan just came through, so he might actually get the HP off the Siphon. Jumping back to Sphinx and Muzz, though. Look at this. Sphinx is up by himself here. Higgs finds elimination onto Scare. Oh, those are some big exchanges there. Queasy's going to be the next team to pretty much fully fall there inside the top 15. Meanwhile, high ground, Boyo and Peterbot are back at it, looking to set themselves up for a win here. Big pressure coming in. They find visuals there, swatted out the sky like it's nothing, and threats. It's a little grief for Peterbot's loot here. He's not too happy about that.
Yeah, not necessarily the best, especially since they're in contention as well. A good game here can put them just outside of reach for the last game of the day, but Josh is going to go down. I think that's the end of Beyonce and Josh in this game. Their fight for first is going to come down to game 8 as well, but Bugha and Braids, top 13, very, very minimal placement points just along with Curve and Higgs to start this game off. So they were 1 point differential between the two, and another elimination there as Bugha's just trying to go for the road unseen underneath. Let it open up. This could be a great play, but also this could turn into a disaster depending on where the zone actually goes.
Yeah, it's either going to be a trap or a genius strategy here, but we'll see. Curve finds his immediate competition. That's a great elimination for Curve and Higgs right there. Braid says, I don't like it. I'm going back up, and out he goes. Ends up playing off well. At least he's still in the game right now. He's got a couple more mats to work with. Barely dodges a shot right there. How is he still in the mix here? Either way, he is standing tall and strong. I saw I am enough inside the top 10. I wonder if Salt was still in this game. Braids though with the cheeky side angle off the Higgs. Higgs got some serious problems now. R24 down in front of him too. There goes the finish, but no, someone comes in from behind. Meanwhile, on high ground is Bolts fighting for it, and he's gonna get a top 6 now.
15 eliminations though from Peterbot and Pollo. Top 6, good amount of placement points. But if Peterbot and Pollo could continue to get eliminations here and win this game, they can certainly continue to close that gap. Higgs and Curve almost going down to a huge flank by Braids. They were able to end him and Bugha's run, 291 points. This is also their chance, Monster, to start to pull away for it with that second team that needs to go to the EWC. Threats goes down, another elimination. They're on 11 total. One of 2 actual duos with a solo still left in this game.
Yeah, this is one of the more impressive teams that we're watching because everyone was very curious in his dynamic with Curve. What can they do? But for the first time now, we're seeing that excel, that high level of competition coming out of them back-to-back, plus over 10 elimination games. It's so impressive for Curve and Higgs. But now you have Peterbot and Pollo up top here. It's a 2v2. Curve goes up first. He's the healthy one. He's got to take the fight to their doorstep. It's not looking good. He has to concede to low ground, and he's cost himself so much damage. This is not looking too hot right now. He's got Peterbot below him. He's got Pollo up top here. Curve's got to do something big now. Can he jump down and close this one out? 3 mats, 2 mats, jumps down. Pollo's down, but the fall damage in the shot from Pollo closes out. And they actually do that with 19 eliminations.
Breaking news, Peterbot in vote.
Back game wins. They have
It's
3
fucking
overall.
sitting.
Peterbot and Pollo, if you look at the leaderboard, you would have not have guessed they missed game number 1. It only has me scratching my head with how many eliminations and the win. Are they in first place? That's the biggest question that I have, Zeke.
Guys, we can't keep doing this.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go crazy. Wow. This is a statement, I feel like, from Peterbot and Pollo. This is a situation where we already have a qualifying spot, right? We want to make sure that when we get to EWC, wherever we pick, everyone just goes, oops, that's Peterbot and Pollo. We just gotta just stay away from those guys. Why would we take the fight to them? Dude, I can't believe this. They just dropped 19 elims. We just saw an 18 elim game out of the duo they just fought to win this game, Higgs and Curve. And they said, oh, you guys got 18. That's really cool. We're just going to go ahead and get 19.
I mean, you just can't stop it. Like, what do you do?
What do you do?
I don't know. It's crazy because, you know, high ground was kind of going crazy over the first couple of games today. And, you know, Peterbot and Pollo, props to them because they kind of switched up the strategy. They're kind of trying to take it a little bit later. But as you can see, it's kind of settled down a lot. Like, Queasy and Scare, we're not seeing them kind of go up for it anymore. I mean, Acorn and Bolts, I think, got shut down that game as well. And Salt and Enough aren't really joining the mix up there. So Peterbot and Pollo have obviously secured the high ground, and it's just leading to absolute domination. Like, that's 3 wins, and they've only played 6 games. They've got a 50% win rate in the qualifier right now.
Yeah, I heard Levin say earlier Shark and Teeny were the best reload team, and for everyone at EWC to watch out. But I think NA has that crown. I think Peterbot and Pollo are the best reload team. Not even just reload, best team in the world, because their consistency over these last few years is crazy, and they're showing it today, proving the point, going for the back-to-back-to-back Reload Elite Series wins.
And Blake, that's after missing game 1. They missed game
Crazy.
1, and they are doing this well. I just don't even know. Like, look, y'all are used to us talking about Peter Bon Pollo. Y'all are used to seeing this, but still, it's crazy. Now, don't forget, it's still a competition. We have 1 game left to go. You're gonna see these standings after after this break, okay? All right, remember, we need to be top 2 if we want to continue the run to EWC. We'll be right back with a break. We'll start to set ourselves up for the final game. Don't go anywhere. Fortnite fam, welcome back to the Reload Elite Series. 1 game to decide it all. We're going right to the standings, okay? Obviously, you guys just saw Peter Bon Pollo drop a 19 elim victory royale. They're in first place. They've got the crown. We need to remember this little line here, okay? Right now, it's top 4. That's enough to get us through. Let's set the stage here. Higgs and Curve have had a crazy game. They, we thought 19 elims is pretty good.
Maybe
18
one
elims
point
and a
in
second
lane
place is
on
also pretty dang good. And in this last game, they actually eliminated Booga, which then suddenly pulled them out of contention. Now, job's not done. The question becomes, can Higgs and Curve hold on? They've got 1 game.
I don't know
and they
what
need
that
to
play is.
hold on.
Oh no, why
Yeah, I mean, that's the worrying thing, right? If you do take a look at their match history, they've had a couple of fumbles in there, right? 16th place, 10th place, 13th place with 0 eliminations. Like, the basis of where they currently stand on the leaderboard is just on the back foot of those giant pop-off second places, where one time they got 18th, one time they got 11 elims, right? So just 29 combined elims out of the 41 that they have in just 2 of those games. can they have another one of those giant pop-off games, or is kind of like a decent game good enough to kind of hold off Booga and Braids?
Put up on it to the
That's the
fuck
question
you.
everybody wants
Heads
the
up
answer to,
41.
Vivid, because if they don't have one of those pop-up
Dodgy
games and
post,
have one of those
dodgy
fumble
end,
games
Peter
like you were
Potter,
talking about,
PvP.
Booga Braids could take over very, not easily, but it's definitely doable. This is still anyone's spot, and it's going to be an insane last game, Zeke.
That's right, man. And obviously, we saw Acorn and Bolts 340. They're likely locked, right? We just need just a solid game. Just put some points on the board. We're probably good. We're going to EWC. But the question becomes, can Big and
If
Braids,
Acorn not made
can
it
they make
now,
the difference? Honestly, even someone like Aegis and Ritual, right?
God
They would
damn
need the
what.
game of their lives here. But anything can happen in Fortnite, and anything will happen. The final game, decide it all. Jacob PR, MDF, take it away.
When it comes to our top 2 spots, Monster, 304 points is the goal to beat for that second spot. 258 points is the next highest placing team. I gotta agree with Zeke. The way these games have been going, with how aggressive they have been going, some of these teams need a game of their life.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a really close competition. And with the last chance here on the line, there's only one way to find out, and that's putting up the performance.
Three wins from Pete and Poyo. Acorn and Bolts got one under their belt. You even got Josh and Iamzo with one, and then Enough and Salt with 2. Not too many wins going around with multiple teams getting a couple, but it's all about those eliminations at the end of the day. We've certainly seen almost every single one of our qualifiers so far come down to eliminations, whether it's one or a few.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, when you have Higgs and Curve sitting at 304 and the gap being like 50 or so points, I mean, you just have to play really big. But not only that, you probably have to find a way to stop them.
You see that, right? You see what we're looking at? Cold, Rapid, Tyler, Agers, Dozier was there. You know who's not here? Higgs and Curve. They knew they were the second team.
Oh, yeah.
That means they are the #1
Wow.
target for everybody that needs a qualifier spot. And they went ahead and played it straight down to the strategy. Not even landing
move.
there. Only our observers probably even know where Higgs and Curve are currently landing. But Muzz and Sphinx end up with an early game elimination here. 20 on the other side. This could be a big fight. 20 just needs to stay alive a little bit longer, get his teammate back in the game.
See if it ends up working out here. Muzz is playing pretty fired up all throughout the day, but 20 finds the shots that matter most. End up finishing off. Muzz here buys himself a little bit more time. Here comes Boyo too. We just talked about how, again, you have Peterbot, you have Boyo that can always play spoiler. They are the deciding factor sometimes if you are going to go to a LAN or not, right? They can determine where they want to rotate essentially and really influence how hard of a game you can have here. Speaking of which, Sphinx is just keeping his distance here. It seems like he doesn't want to get into too close to that fight at all.
That was a very scary situation there for a moment. Acorn, no shields. Bolts was taken down. Now we see Higgs getting rocketed by Jack and still ends up able to take that fight. That's a big one by Higgs. That's 3 more points for their total.
wait.
They have a decent cushion against the rest of the teams below them on that leaderboard. They just have to make it far in these games.
The team laning now. Try to lane on
Go
head.
for the elims.
But
I feel like you
head
kind of
son
feel
out
like I think
no
the safest way for you to
he lane.
build
Yeah.
a comfortable cushion is for you to kind of push the elims here. You also don't want to force
Okay.
yourself into a terrible position. So we'll see what Higgs and Curve end up opting to do. I mean, they definitely have had some of the bigger games here clearly on the evening. I didn't think any team was going to one-up them, but leave it to Peterbot and Boyo to go for 19. So there you have it.
Essentially seems like they switch drops with Cold and Rapid overall, but in comes a flying missile. Josh and Iamzo land on Higgs, get a good first shot and solidify the actual elimination. Curve, is elsewhere, so they're not going to be able to close the gap quickly, especially since he is lurking down below for towards the lead experiments. So it's not going to be hard at all for him to get Higgs back in the game. More so, it's going to be hard for Higgs to stay alive because we've seen this song and dance before, but it doesn't look like Yamzo and Josh are going after the chase right out of the gates. They're going to wait for him to drop and then go.
Said comma.
Yeah, it seems like they definitely got the information they needed.
Said one not said
Higgs
comma.
manages to break loose though. Yeah, they're gonna give it up. I don't think they're gonna chase it too far ahead. Seems like Higgs is now, fully on and gone. So, luckily for him, he'll have some room to work with. I'm curious what's going through Yamzo and Josh's mind here, as far as like what their goals of the competition now are, right? Like, do they want to play hyper aggressive and try to push the gap to catch up to Peterbot?
Why
or are
not
they just
so
looking for consistency
brutal
all the way
yet?
through in preparation for the finals at EWC? Well, only they can tell, but see how it all ends up shaking out in the end. Holding rapid here.
94 points for them. Even though they already have their spot secured, if you look back at the first 3 qualifiers, first, second, and third place so far has been a downward trend from what we've seen so far. But honestly, with everything on the line, I think every player is just playing a little bit more aggressive than they typically would in normal situations. Peterbot getting another, Noxie getting an elimination onto Jack. Cold and Rapid, they already have these 2 eliminations. If they go back to the strategy that won them the actual Reload Elite Series qualifier 1, they slow down in the mid game. They're very aggressive in the early, and they pick up those natural eliminations at the end.
Oh, look at this. Yamzo and Josh end up finding out where Curve was. Curve overstood his welcome here at the drop, and he actually ended up fishing him out here. This is going to be really bad now, actually, for Higgs and Curve. All things considering, Higgs is playing off of scrap loot now. He didn't even get to loot the spot where he first touched base down. And now Curve's got to do the same here, but it's still very early into the tournament, Only zone 3, so they have a little bit of time to work with, but definitely a major setback for them.
Yeah, and the only real silver lining is, when they're eliminated, they're 12 seconds for reboot. They're not taking storm damage. So when they do fall, as you saw a Curve there, he comes back up, goes straight to the storm, has a little bit more time to work with. Braids and Booga already have a 1 elimination here. You're seeing them take that launch pad in towards the end game. And I saw this in the feed, was wondering how it played out. Yemity just trying to run away, create distance from Peterbot, but you know how hard that has been for anybody here today. Caliper ends up in the box. He gets knocked as well. I will say, even though these players are getting demolished by Peterbot and Pollo, it's only knocks, which means their teammates are still alive in the game.
Yeah, it only takes for them to really single you out, though, and get you right on the right edge of zone for it to go really bad. And then the rest of your tournament, you're just going to get caught out. So we'll see what Peterbot and Boya end up ultimately doing as far as repositioning is concerned.
Let's usually kind of stay late here. Over at Elite Armory. That launch pad towards the back. I'm not sure who's actually there. Could be Acorn and Bolts because they too fight for the backside of that zone. Yep, can kind of see them there in the distance. It is Acorn and Bolts. And honestly, Acorn and Bolts in a lot of the previous games so far, especially the early games, Bolts was going around looking for eliminations. But now that they already have 340 points, a decent cushion over the next top 3 teams that are below them on that leaderboard, they might not necessarily be playing for the win solely as much as we did our job. Let's just hold on to our spot, and then we can worry about winning EWC later.
Yeah, meanwhile, Peterbot and Pollo just, racking up different team after different team of eliminations. They just found Boji. Now they're rotating back on over to him. Let's see if he ends up finding a shot. Doesn't quite get it, but he's got the shockwaves. He's full committing too. This is crazy. It's not like he's going to get anything for doing this. Oh, whoa, lost Pollo though, okay. RPG in return. Just gotta be careful.
All close calls right there because I'm not sure how much damage the RPG would have done, but Peterbot's taking storm damage, finally gets the elimination onto Boji. That's definitely going to help with the HP. You see he has nothing left over, just a Fizz and Shockwave, so now he's just going on the chase. Jack got the elimination onto Pollo. Peterbot knows where that was last at, and he's going back on over there.
Take a look at this. Rapid and Cold, still finding theirs. Themselves in the competition. I did see AJ Ritual a few times there. Okay, so they got a couple elims, not too bad. Oh, this is pretty rough though. This scary team to have on your heels right now, considering how close you are to qualifying your way through. I mean, anything can happen if you fall this early, because it only takes a win for any one of these teams. And there you have it, because Curve and Higgs are not that far ahead. They've only earned a single Elim worth of points this game.
Less than 70 points overall. So Aegis of Ritual desperately need Higgs and Curve to go down. And this is something they tried in Qualifier 3. The biggest difference is Ritual stayed at his POI as they do clean up that elimination onto Curve. This time around in the last game of the day, Ritual and Aegis learning from their mistakes. They're going on the hunt together as a duo. They find Curve, but they have yet to find Higgs here. And that's the team they need to take down, because as long as Higgs and Curve stay in the game, eliminations or not, all they have to do is match placement with anybody else on the leaderboard, and they will pull through.
This is a pretty tough one to be in, because like Ritual and Aegis, you know, their eyes must be like on full alert right now, because you know, like, oh snap, we're right next to the team we need to take down. We have to hunt.
Let's see what they're fighting over back here. That launch pad, Fizz, the launch pad, and cover distance. And no matter where the zone goes for either one of these teams over at Elite Armory, that's their primary mode of rotation, as long as they have the heals to make it possible. So Peterbot does go down, Rapid going down as well, both of them getting cleaned up. And I do like to see it, even with a lead of Peterbot and Pollo, they're not slowing down.
Pollo did get knocked too to the hands of Jack right before that, so it seems like Peterbot and Pollo have kind of lost their momentum a bit here, even though they have 6 eliminations. You can see Mason, he just didn't even see it coming. That was way too fast for him to react. He tries to put a wall up and they just break right in. That's what happens when you have those wood walls, unfortunately.
Let's look at the leaderboard going into this game. 304 was the score to beat with Higgs and Kerr. Booga and Braids right after, 258. Then we had Aegis and Ritual with 236. And then this team here with Visuals and Threats at 223 points. Threats getting 1 elimination here, so boosting them up the leaderboard ever so slowly, but they're just trying to go ahead and make it to this end game, and hopefully those teams go down early as Jack does fall. Peterbot Pollo get a little bit of revenge here as he does get the revive onto Pollo.
There's some payback there. 7 elims now for them. They needed the loadout from this duo here. These are all good things for Pollo and Peterbot. Again, given the amount of eliminations that they got traded back and forth on either side, so definitely needed to kind of find themselves a refresher. But look at this, Higgs and Curve, it's looking a little dicey. It still is kind of right now. You see even the mat split comes out right there. They're just trying to get each other situated here, but the lack of material going into zone 6, look how tight the storm is starting to close the map here. And now this is going to be more and more difficult for you to really get situated. And the mammoth shot comes in and lights Higgs up. This is not looking great at all. Oh no, this is bad.
Yeah, reboots literally just turned off. No chance for Higgs to get back in the game. 307 points. If they go down here, it's not instantaneous by any means, because remember, there's around a 46-point gap, and Curve goes down!
Oh my god.
Point gap!
That's a comma.
And
That
Higgs
was
just lost the plot!
that's a
I
comma.
was just gonna say, they shockwaved right over as he was breaking down the stakes there, and they went straight into the box. There was a weak wall there. Oh my gosh. So now we're really gonna have to start looking at that 307
Boota's still alive or no?
Booga,
Because
Braves, Agers, Rituals,
I
Visuals.
did not
I mean,
show
enough
Buta one time.
insults.
Did
For
don't make
Christ's sakes,
did
we're also in the
damn.
200-point threshold. Everyone
I may
has
be
a chance.
I may be dumb.
But I think it's going to come down to win for the majority of those guys. If you're far down, you basically have to win, because you will have to jump over the other competition as well.
Yeah, either that or you gotta hope and pray eliminations go your way, and you really have to be careful, because you look at the
my
side right now,
gosh.
Peterbot and Pollo poised for another high ground game. Vivid said it himself, they missed game 1. So far, 3 wins out of 6 games played. This is their 7th one, over a 50% win ratio so far. But this is the other team that they have to watch out for on the other side. They've not only played for high ground early, they've been known to contest for it late, and that's Acorn and Bolts. With their spot already secured, the only thing that they're looking forward to, Monster, from here on out is winning the entire tournament.
Yeah, and it's so tough because these are all like tier, like we're talking like legitimate tier 1 options, right? For this last qualification spot here. Pigs and Curve clearly now holding on to breath, but you have Booga, you have Agers, Rets. Like, these are all very legitimate competitors that are still in the game right now. Here we go. Ritual's busting a move here towards the end. He's in top 14. Already another team just fall. Salt actually found elimination there onto Mason. Booga and Braids have a chance now to really take off here. But again, they're going to need a lot of eliminations and plenty more placements to back it up.
But they are next in line to make it possible. Sees where the zone goes. Booga immediately start to rotate out. I'm not sure what movement they have left over, but you can see that empty item slot in Booga's inventory. Doesn't look like they have many shockwaves, crash pads, or anything of that sort. So even though this game was already hard, it just got harder, especially with Yamzo and Josh positioning themselves just one box above you. You have to be careful at all turns, because even Muzz and Finks, who have their spot secured, are also feeling the pressure.
Yeah, this is really coming down to the wire now. Muzz and Sphinx, they're fighting for prizing here. And of course, reputational stake. Ritual, Agers back at it, 254 right now. Find themselves a nice little refresh right there. Onto the hands. Also, Threats there, the full finish. So, Visuals down, Threats is down. This is perfect. If you're, of course, Ritual and Agers here, all they have to do now is find a way to jump over Booga and Braids, who I still see alive in the mid-ground. Peterbot starting to play that mid-ground, though. It's getting a little bit closer here.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Ritual is going to go down. It's not only the high ground, but the other teams as well. Looking in that direction, they get the knock onto one. There's no extra HP for Agers. He needs an elimination if he wants to try to get it back. Even with the shields, you see him burning through his materials here. Only 4 left to protect himself, and he's not even in zone just yet.
Yeah, this is pretty tough here. It was actually Peterbot who took out Rituals, playing that mid layer, but Booga and Braid secure the extra elimination here.
No way.
285 now. Can they hold on? They're in 9th place. They need a couple more placement points and an elimination or two to really be solidified here. But you have Muzz and Sphinx hounding them here, fighting back.
What the fuck?
Meanwhile,
Both
for
not
high
on the
ground,
icon.
also recognizing that if they want to go to land, they need the win here. And Peterbot and Boy, of course, don't care about what you want. They just want to fight for everything here. They're going to break out the high ground now. And he's going to send everyone flying down. They did have a Flowberry Fizz. It's going to keep them alive and in the game here still. 4 eliminations for them. 307 is the cutoff. A win can do it for them as well. Peterbot, Boyo out of material. Boyo's down. Bolt is in the low ground. Acorn just getting blended up too. They're going to get full finish here. I think we're going to see someone else take the spot here, Jacob.
Yeah, we might have a chance here. Enough and Salt still alive down below. Yamzo getting closer and closer to Peterbot and Boyo. They are literally less than 10 points away from qualifying to EWC. Booga and Braids, only 2 eliminations. And if you think back, Monster, last game, Booga was put in the blender, and they find another one onto Yamzo. They're going to eclipse that 300-point mark, but Spray coming from down below. Braids is outside of the zone. They're both getting eaten alive, but they find their way back. 307 points. They are on the line. 1 elimination, 1 placement can do it.
This can go either way now. Salt and enough putting major pressure down. Meanwhile, Scare lurking on the layer right above Booga and Braids. Low ground team starting to look up as well. Pressure coming from all angles and danger lurking nearby. It can go any which way. See what Braid's gonna do here. They're gonna leave one to go in and pop the med kit just to play for placements. I love this play for Booga, but the zone bounces back. A little bit of a favoritism there. And look at this, Braids is safe there. Just on the edge. Is Booga making a mistake by not taking that little bit of extra seconds there? We'll find out. Braids gets an extra point here. If nothing else, they've done enough to jump up. But remember, the winning team still on top here. Salt and enough are still in it. Can they go for the 3-peat?
312 points right now for Booga. He's on his very last med kit. Crash pads to make it in his own. Salt gets another elimination throughout the course of all this. Booga getting pressed in the backside of zone. Crash pad the only hope. He's trying to make his way to that mending machine. He has the gold, but he does not have the time. 312 points. I am enough. And Salt, that's 6 points for the actual eliminations. A couple more for the win. I think Booga and Braids have done it. I am enough and Salt have to play this one perfect. There goes the first down on the Muzz. Sphinx by himself, 297 points. They win the game, but Booga and Braids seem to have qualified.
It was so close.
No way,
Three
victory
royales in a singular tournament setting for
No fucking way.
And it will likely all come down to whether or not they could have pulled through just a little bit more points there, Jacob. Well, in the end, game 8 was phenomenal, and that's going to be wraps from us there, Zeke.
Okay. First off, before we say anything, I'm going to hold the Zekism for Jacob PR. MDF, thank you guys so much. Fantastic cast of the day. I'm enough. Salt. Big moment. Another Victory Royale. Fantastic stuff out of them. Love to see that. We saw them perform very well for the course of the day. Right, Blake? You know, we had that moment earlier on. You were saying, hey, they're going to push high ground. And this is still a big performance out of the duo, right?
It is a very big performance. They obviously, after that second win, kind of slowed down a little bit, but they finished strong. You know, they got to be a little bit disappointed not getting that last qual spot, but they still have something to be proud of, because this is an up-and-coming duo, and they just showed what they're capable of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A big learning experience for sure. I mean, we kind of, the conversation has been, yeah, you know, Pete and Polio, they've only queued up for 7 of these games, right? They missed one. It was like for Enough and Salt, they kind of missed like 4 games because they only really had 4 solid games where they actually were able to pick up obviously a decent amount of points. And for a long time there, I mean, they were in first place. So a crazy way to kind of end the competition here for Enough and Salt.
So let's bring up the leader. Just bring up the, hey, production, hit me with the leaderboard. Hit me with the leaderboard. Booga! Booga! Let's go!
No fucking way, but far fucking both.
The Lion! Vivid! I cannot believe the day of I had to hold the Zekism to this point. I was
No
just gonna lose it, but I was
fucking
like,
way.
hook some of the people. The Lion!
KK.
Vivid, he did it! Booga's going to EWC!
The amount of puzzle pieces that had to find their way to fit into this storyline perfectly for this one to pan out. I mean, Higgs and Curve getting shut down in the final game, just getting pushed by so many different duos like Aiders and Ritual to try to prevent them from qualifying, and ended up working. They go down with 307 points, and Booga and Braids, they literally make it to the exact placement and the exact amount of elims that they needed to actually qualify. We were biting our nails here, watching on the edge of our seats. They did it, Blake.
They did it indeed, Vivid, and it all goes back to that solo clutch by Booga. That's one of those puzzle pieces that went together to get them to the amount of points they needed to qualify. And it just shows you should never give up. Booga was about to retire after not qualifying Summit, and now he's going back to LAN where he belongs, Zeke.
It's so incredible. Fortnite fan, this is such a big moment for him. I love to see that. So well fought from them. They fought just so hard. This was such a difficult qualifier. This was the last qualifier. Backs against the wall. And like you said, Blake, off of a single solo clutch, suddenly they were back into contention, right? And this was going back and forth between Higgs and Curve. And we saw Aegis and Ritual. They were outside too. They were thinking, hey, if we just fight Higgs and Curve, we have a good chance, right? Because they were just fighting Booga direct, and we can maybe make that happen. While all of that transpired, it was enough. They put the pieces together. They're going through the EWC. We also can't forget as well, Acorn and Bolts have secured themselves a spot, but we kind of knew that, right, Viv? They were performing so well this whole time, and they had such a strong lead.
I got it.
To the end.
Before the time, 2 minutes start, I said Buddha and Acorn made it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be super fun. As you can see here, all of the
No
teams that are kind
fucking
of
way.
qualified through that we're gonna be seeing over there at EWC. 40 total duos, which, you know, by the way, if you don't necessarily know about the format for EWC, this is not actually your qualification to the finals. There's a little bit of a process once you do make it there onto land. But yeah, we have 39 of our duos. Looks like NA West. When that one wraps up, we will have all 40. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how this one pans out.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about our representation for NA going into this Esports World Cup. Like I said, Peterbot and Poyo, I don't want to be that guy. The best reload team. I'm sorry, Levin. I know. Yeah, I'm sorry. But it's going to be crazy to see how it plays out. Let's go. This is exciting.
Man, Fortnite is so dope, man. I'm just blown away by yet another. Every time I feel like I'm like, you know, I've seen it all. It's Fortnite's like, Zeke, you have no idea what you're talking about. You've not seen anything yet. Wow. Gentlemen, obviously, before we start to kind of wrap up and say goodbye, I'd love to give you guys the floor. Next step is EWC. How did you enjoy the day? What are your closing thoughts? Viv, start with you.
I mean, listen, I think we have to give a giant bouquet of flowers to Peterbot and Polly. I mean, obviously, they missed the first game. We were like, wait, what the heck? We have 19 duos in this first game? Like, who's missing? Peterbot and Pollo. Then we played the second game, and they got 15 points in that game. So, I mean, essentially, you can kind of chalk up these guys really only played 6 games, and they were able to go ahead and mount an incredible comeback. 3 wins across all 4 of these qualifiers, and the one that they didn't win, they got second place. So, an incredible feat throughout the year, and I love the kind of Blake called it out. The best reload team, man. They got to be considered that.
Yeah, and I would say this tournament, as they say, was cinema, and it never disappoints. So it was a great time being back here on the show, and I'm happy to see Peterbot and Pollo win again. You know, I'm a big fan. Seeing the back-to-back-to-back, it was awesome, and thank you guys for having me.
Blake, thank you so much for hanging out with us, dude. It was fantastic having you be part of this. So much insight to be learned from you. Obviously, Vivid, you know, I'm thankful for you. Shout out to Jacob and MDF, and of course the EU crew. Now the next step is EWC. That's happening in Paris. If you want to go, we hope that you'll go, man. It's going to be such a fantastic time, not just Fortnite. There's going to be other games there represented as well. So please go check that out. Fortnite fam, that wraps up this show. The next time we'll see you, I think like Major 2. So much Fortnite happening all the time, and I love that. So until then, we love you. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see you on that battle bus.
Beep, beep.